Hi, I'm Jesse Laird. I wanted to introduce the new board I created to connect a Raspberry Pi to a Printrboard printer board. It's known as the Raspberry Pi Printrboard Link. This board takes a 12-volt supply and does a couple things. It replaces the 5-volt wall wart that you normally plug into the Raspberry Pi. It directly connects the Raspberry Pi and the printer board using their UARTs, so there's no USB cable required. And it provides some additional output and control of that switchable power supply. I envision this as a simpler way of connecting your Raspberry Pi to the printer bot, as well as a way of integrating some remote power off controls, either directly from with an Octoprint or using some additional circuitry on a expansion connector. You can connect other temperature sensors or smoke alarms, that sort of safety circuit, to shut down the 12-volt supply to the printer board in case of a problem. As you can see, the board has three main connections. The ribbon cable essentially connects the UART of the Raspberry Pi to the UART on the printer board. The incoming power supply supports either the 6-pin PCIe or the 4-pin 12-volt supply, depending on what power source you're using for your printer board. And it's meant to only use one at a time. And then, by the same token, there's a either 4 or 6-pin Phoenix connector style, which supplies power. As you can see, I'm not one to hide my printer board because I'm working with the hardware. Realize that a lot of the printer bot models now have the printer board hidden, and so I've sourced both longer connectors for having the Raspberry Pi mounted on a pigtail next to the printer. But one of the things I'm pretty excited about, the possibility of this board, is it allows for a fairly compact stacking of the boards in sort of a back-to-back arrangement, using essentially the power cable that you cut to length and a shorter ribbon cable. You can see that the boards stack up fairly nicely, and I'm still working on a case design for this, but I think it gives the possibility of having all the essentially control electronics in one fairly compact package next to the printer and still be accessible. So, like I said, I'm still working on the case design, but this is, I think, going to be my preferred arrangement, is to group these somewhere on the outside of the printer where all the connections are accessible and hidden by kind of a vanity cover. To do a quick demo, you've gotten rid of your USB cable, you've gotten rid of your wall supply, being directly powered and directly connected. You can see the temperature's reading, and it's able to begin a print job here. Since I don't have much plastic, as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and cancel the print job, though it would be able to print successfully. Able to disconnect the printer. And the system menu now has two new items, one to disable the power supply and one to enable it. Let's see if I select that option to kill the supply. The new prototype, I guess, metal hot end to shut off, showing the printer's off. And that's what you do if you saw something going terribly wrong in the middle of a print job. If you need to, you could re-enable the supply and should be able to reconnect to the printer. So two more things I forgot to mention on this board. The first is that I created it open hardware, Creative Commons. Wanted to get this out in public and get people's feedback and follow-on designs going. The other thing I wanted to mention that I'm kind of proud of is on the back I put a link to the GitHub source of the board and some documentation. So it's a great place. I'm going to be building up the information on the special firmware for the printer board, connections, those sort of things. There's a little bit of shortcut information here in terms of where the connectors go and warnings. Like it says here, this kind of enhanced safety features, it's really not meant as a incentive to go leave your printer unattended. That's not safe, and I don't want to get involved in the risks there. I realize that people do it, and this board hopefully makes it safer, but again, this is not meant as a tool to say suddenly that you should be able to go out and leave your printer unattended. Always watch your printer. So I mentioned the expansion connection, which is located in the corner of the board. And like I said, the intent of that is a couple purposes. One is to expand the safety feature. So there's some logic on the board that either lets you connect or disable the power through the Raspberry Pi GPIO, essentially via Octoprint, or you could optionally add an external circuit or circuits that are designed to shut off when they sense a dangerous condition. So the one purpose is the safety. There's two other features which are sort of in the works. I can't demo them today because I haven't done a lot on either of those, but I wanted to make sure this board was ready for those. The first of those is a kind of one-button print concept that Brooke and the Printrboard team have been working on. Essentially, this has enough I/O to let you have a light that shows when it's ready to print something and accept a button press saying go. The other sort of future capability of the board relates to something that Joel requested, and that's a switch to enable you to force this into Wi-Fi access point mode when you first get the board. And that's just to make it a little bit friendlier so that when you bring the board to your house, you start it up, it's the access point, you connect your phone or your laptop to it, and you enter in the SSID and password for your Wi-Fi network in your house or office. And then you switch it over into infrastructure mode. And by having a switch on the outside, that makes it a little bit friendlier to set up the device instead of having to kind of immediately learn Raspberry Pi network configuration. Like I said, both of these features are sort of in the works, but the goal on this board was to kind of get the immediate things working, but also have some future support. So that's kind of a summary of the optional kind of expansion header on there. In terms of where this project is right now, I've built up 3 boards in-house. I'm going to build up a couple more and send them to Printrboard headquarters for kind of evaluation, see what they want to do with the product. And it's really kind of early days. I think the main change from what you see here is that I'm going to drop the fuse size down to a mini automotive style fuse instead of the full-size ATO fuse, just a little bit lower profile. But equally easy to get in your local auto parts store. Aside from that, that's going to be Rev B of the board, and we'll see where it goes from here. So from my garage, just like the Printrboard beginnings, I wanted to do a quick intro to the Raspberry Pi Printrboard Link. Thanks.